So my name is Brian Smith, and I run DFW FPV, one of the admins here, along with Jonathan. And so I've been in the hobby of drones for maybe about 4 years. I got into it really in the COVID time, and I've been running the club now for about 3 of those years. And we have a very large club. We have about 1,000 people, about 1,500 total across our whole social media footprint. So yeah, everything that deals with recreational, commercial, even up to enterprise type drone, anything that has to do with it, even the legal aspect of it, we like keeping aware of and staying on top of. So there's an issue with part shortage right now, and we've really been feeling it for about the last 6 months or so. And it all started with the talk of tariffs. And one of the issues with tariffs isn't actually the implementation, it's more of the uncertainty. So when companies don't know what's going on with tariffs and they don't know what their margins have to be for the future, then there's uncertainty, and then everything kind of goes up and it stays there. Because one thing that's pretty common across all industries is once the prices go up, it's very difficult to bring those back down. So we've been feeling this for a little bit, mainly because of that. So yeah, when it comes to parts, all of that on top of the DJI bans, and I say it's a DJI ban, the government would say it's a Chinese ban, but realistically, as far as how it impacts us, it's a DJI ban. We don't really know what to expect. And so the companies don't know what to expect. We don't know what to expect. Parts are getting really hard to get. It's hard to import anything. So we're really starting to feel it right now, not just in the fact of it's hard to buy parts, but it's also in how we fly. Because I'm far more cautious now because I'm gonna have a hard time replacing stuff. I fly less. So I really think all of these things together right now is I won't say it's killing the hobby, but boy, it's strangling it pretty bad.
So I've been drone racing for about 5 years. Been in the club as an organizer for about 3 years. Been a sponsored pilot for about 3 years. Flown multiple championships. I do spec racing. I do 5-inch open class like we're doing here tonight. I do 7-inch spec racing, some freestyle, but pretty much just racing. As a race pilot, we push them, I would say, probably 150% more than what a normal commercial or a film drone would, because we're pushing these components to their edge on ability, but also on longevity and time, right? You know, you're pushing these motors to the last, end of their life cycle, at the highest capacity, whereas a commercial pilot's most of the time going to be pushing their motors maybe about 50 to 60%, as you go. Most of the time, yeah, well, we're staying 80% and above, especially electronic components, ESCs, FCs, about the same thing. It's just a brain, but the ESCs, yeah, we're pulling high amps and then high amp bursts, so a lot higher than what a normal pilot would.
I'm Trent Tharp, and I've been flying with Dallas Stone Racing since I started back in 2019. And I'm a high school teacher, and I have an aviation, aerospace engineering, UAV, digital electronics class, and scientific research and design. So full engineering kind of thing going on at a high school. If we don't have something that we need electronically, that's when I start talking to the guys behind me and see if they have any old gear that they're not using anymore. And a lot of times they can donate stuff that they're not using. Jay McKibben, our president of Dallas Stone Racing, donated probably 12 old frames. And when the kids are testing on can they build a frame and build a drone, those are the ones they're building. They're not using the new 533 or a 7-inch street league drone or anything like that. They're building drones from 2018, back when it was old stuff.
Well, I'm also a manned aviation pilot, right? So I have my pilot's license as well. And if you don't fly for a while, you get a little bit rusty, and you got to knock the rust off just about every flight when you get back into it. If you go months without that, it's the same thing with just about any other hobby. And especially in the commercial space, if you want to be doing this for a living, you want to be flying as much as possible, mainly for that safety factor. You want to know the areas that you're flying in, so you need that experience. You need to know your equipment and your gear, and you're constantly updating and trying to make sure your gear is kept up on as far as maintenance goes. But part of that is going out and flying it. So when you're concerned about parts and you're concerned about flight times, it can absolutely be a safety issue.
A lot of major pilots who, let's say, aren't like super sponsor, we'll call it. Let's say they got like 5 different major sponsors. I've heard from even pilots that when we were just talking about it, we're like, hey, we're gonna dial back a little bit on how we practice. Me, myself, I've not only dialed back on how I practice, how many times I practice, and the length of each practice, but also when I go to a race, my focus is more, trying to get in some clean laps first and then ramp up the speed as needed versus trying to, before you just get out there and, try and get into the throttle right away. But yeah, it's affected big time because you have to watch, especially your video products. Even if you're flying clean, you're going to have antenna issues, things like that. There's small parts to these things that we have to supply that now, have become where we didn't think about them, right? We ordered $30 worth of antennas. You're not thinking about it. Well, now that $30 antenna is $60, and it does. It definitely affects how you approach your race, how you approach your practice, especially practice is key for us. And now, we're still practicing, but you're not going out there and burying 4 quads because it's pretty expensive to get them back up in the air, even if you're sponsored.
Ideally, in a great world, everything would be made here in America, and we can do it for low cost, and the products will be the best that they are out there. In our world, that's transmission quality. Can you go as far as you can? Can you get the best signal? And are you not going to get knocked out of the sky if that signal is interrupted? Right now, DJI kind of has the market on that. So that's kind of where everybody gravitates towards. They are the litmus test for everybody else out there. So if we get that in America and we can do it at a similar price point, I think that's a different story. And we'd be having a very different conversation right now, but that doesn't exist. And that's kind of that's the main point right now is it doesn't exist. We also don't even know when it will exist. We don't have an idea on when it's coming. So we can't predict or make plans for what are we going to do with our gear? Because if it was just a question of shift over to this other video system and this has longevity and we have that faith that it's going to be there 5-10 years from now, people can at least have something to grab onto there and do that.
I'm all for taking the hit now. Again, it's not fun, but sometimes you have to make a sacrifice. And
I love the last.
yeah, right. I mean, at some point, someone's going to cave or they'll come to an agreement and then everyone's happy and everyone gets to go back to, I'm not the youngest person around. So I know that when prices go high, they tend to not come back. So, they realize if we're willing to pay this much when the tariffs were going, then we'll lower it down to show, hey, look, no more tariffs. But it's good that we have those jobs coming back. I have some friends of mine that now have jobs full-time with benefits. And before they were a couple of different part-time jobs, no benefits and struggling to put food on the table. And now they're doing good. They're really feeling the hit of the tariffs on certain items because in their industry that they're in, they're not producing as much as they probably would. But they're making it. They know that's going to come down eventually, and they'll be better for it in the long run because now they're learning how to be more efficient with what they're doing.
Right now, for a lot of the higher end racers, is they're gonna just try to stockpile, right? Some VLL 32s from the past. But when you can't get those, we're going to AM to the AMC. It's working decent. We haven't figured out the settings quite yet for your more high end racing and some of the different motor combinations we run to. That's pretty our only solution right now. Besides going to a lesser product with BL Heli S, an older ESC that doesn't have the processing power we're looking for. We can only run, we can't run AK, so we get a little bit less smooth flight out. That's pretty much all we got right now. Is really AM as a comparable option. That's it. That's it. There are some new products coming out. They're supposed to have their own ESC firmware, but those are still in testing phase. Nobody's really got to push them on a racetrack yet. So right now, the AM is it. AM32 is it.
Converting that over to the AM32, we haven't even gone through that thing yet. So there's no updates on any of the BL Heli 32 stuff. So we just make sure that when you plug it in, we go into BL Heli and make sure nothing's crazy so it doesn't burn up. But that's something that we're gonna feel this year when we go through our new the new budget and the grants that I write, they'll get to learn that difference. Yeah, and the tariffs, we'll see about December how bad it's going to hurt the class. But you know, like I told the kids last year, I said when they come through, I'm willing to take the hit for a year or two until they kind of balance back out, and we can get some, I don't know, just yeah, it's just going to go up and down. So when it balances out, it is what it is. Like the DJI Goggles 3. Good luck finding some of those. So, you know, just supply and demand. Everyone wants those so they can fly the L4s. And we won't have those. I got an 04, but we don't have the Goggles 3. So, yep, good luck getting the new one, exactly. Right. No one gets to fly that. That sits in a drone and it's up on the shelf. Right.
How motivated are you to support an American-made company that can offer a solution to not only the ESC firmware, but the greater supply chain? If they came out with everything we needed, like, how quick would you be on board?
Oh yeah, that's just like that's something I've thought about actually way before this when I first got into the industry. I've done some other things where I've seen sponsors grow, stuff like that. If we had, especially American manufacturing here, pilots would immediately be on it. You know, even if we had some wrinkles in development and everything, everybody's willing to put that out there because we've been tired for years of not being able to get them when we want them readily available, right? Even before the tariffs, yeah, you could go, you know, buy what now may be $1,000 worth of product for $500, but you were still waiting a couple of weeks. If we had no wait plus more people listening to us on development, oh yeah, I'm that day, you know, that day, as soon as I get the word, yeah, okay, I'm with you, you know, because that the development will be, you know, much tighter. Right now, we do work with some of the manufacturers overseas as pilots. We give them feedback and stuff, but that feedback, you know, can get lost through translation or can just get lost in time and on somebody's desk. You know, they have different, you know, things they got to complete. But yeah, if there was an American manufacturer here, yes, it's an instinct. It's an instinct. We need that today, now.